After years of not admitting to myself that I had a problem, I finally took my head out of the sand and looked at my life. It was then I saw the pain I'd caused and the damage I'd done to the people around me. I was left with one main question. Why? Why did I do this? Why do people drink? Why did I drink? Along my recovery journey, I've heard many answers to this critical question. People from AA would say that drinking is a disease like cancer, or that it's an allergy and that I'm allergic to alcohol. And scientists would say that it's genetic and it's inherited. The American Society of Addiction says that it's a brain disorder. And the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-5, that we use in the UK, would say that it's a mental health condition. And the legal system would say that it's a choice and that's why addicts should go to jail. Now, I don't believe it can be simplified to any of these answers because I think it goes deeper. Over my time in the industry, I've narrowed it down to 4 core reasons. Our culture, our inner circle, our own psychology, and our emotional trauma. When you first start searching for help, reading Google or Quitlit, you tend to find that most of the approaches and most of the people approach the reason for drinking from an external perspective. They blame our culture or our circumstances or the people around us, and they rarely mention our own psychology or emotional trauma. Therefore, we spend most of our time at the top of the triangle, externally looking at the culture and media, and very little time at the bottom, looking at our internal trauma. That is why I think this approach is a big mistake and that we should really be focusing on the reverse. Because when we spend more time working on the emotional trauma at the bottom, we have a much better foundation. We start to work our way up through the triangle rather than down. This is critical because the foundation contains our values, emotional management, and our healed trauma. That in turn affects our psychology and how we interact with the world. This then helps us to establish healthy social circle, and it also helps us to decide how much control we want our culture to have over us. This model is what this video is all about. So let's look at each core reason in a bit more detail. At the top we have culture. This includes media and advertising. We see adverts for alcohol and people drinking around us in the pubs and just the general UK drinking culture. Also drinking with work clients and being a high-flying London exec. Or going for a drink with friends after a hard week at work. It also includes men being told not to feel their emotions and just man up and go to the pub. Then on the woman's side of things, you have take care of the kids and just have a glass of wine to relax kind of attitude. Next, we have our inner circle. This includes our partner who may drink, or our relationship and arguments that can be triggering. Also the kids and never really kind of having a break. Because family life can actually be really hard to manage. Then we have our own psychology, our self-image, which is the way we see ourselves. This is our internal perspective, and it can include things like being a people pleaser, not having space for yourself. Your behaviour and identity can be a reason why you drink. Also the secondary gain, which is where you're addicted to everyone running around making a fuss when you drink. You're the black sheep of the family and that's your position, so you drink to stay aligned with that identity. Also being successful and not feeling like you deserve it, so you self-sabotage. Your habits and identity can be a reason why, maybe because you used to be in the life of the party. Lastly, now we have peeled back all of the layers of the onion, we can start to see what's truly going on, the underlying trauma. Now, I've surveyed hundreds of clients in order to understand their realities on a deeper level, and here are some of the key commonalities that stood out. All these respondents are normal people just like you, with a job, a family, and they're high functioning, and they all have a problem with alcohol too. Over 50% of people had lost a key person in their life. 1 in 2, their parents got divorced in childhood. 1 in 2 also moved around a lot as a kid. 1 in 4, their parents used to drink, modelling to them their current drinking behaviour. 1 in 4 grew up in a house where domestic abuse was present. 1 in 4 had a partner in the past who drank, and since being with that partner, their own drinking escalated. 1 in 4 also had been cheated on in the past. And lastly, 1 in 6 had experienced sexual abuse and assault. Now, I've experienced my fair share of these in the past, and most likely, so have you. These underlying traumas play out in the present and have an impact on our functioning, thinking, and relating to other people. As Gabor Mate says, not every trauma ends in addiction, but every addiction stems from trauma. This is the core reason we drink. We drink to escape the suffering caused by these events, even if just for a short while. The reason why so many other programs don't work is that they don't get to the bottom of what's going on. They don't get to the real why. They spend all their time trimming the weeds and don't get to the root. Now, you may have spoken to a therapist about some of your past and think it's done. But after speaking with tons of clients who have seen previous therapists, the reason they come to me is to look back over their past through the lens of drinking. Because most counsellors, although they're amazing, they will hear you out, but they just don't understand how to kind of connect those dots because they haven't been through drink themselves. And that's why all of our counsellors are trained in our methodology. So whether you go through this module on your own or with a counsellor, I recommend you do this work as it's key to breaking your current cycle. Many people have broken this cycle before you. They've healed from their traumas and got sober. Some that you may know that come to my mind is Eminem, Robert Downey Jr., Ben Affleck, Bradley Cooper, Drew Barrymore, Elton John, Daniel Radcliffe, just to name a few. But now, it's your turn.